My dearest soul, angels guide me today to share a specific message, a breath of insight about a situation that may have left your heart with unanswered questions and a feeling of bewilderment. We're talking about that person, the one who at some point stated, perhaps directly or through cold, distant actions, that they felt nothing special for you. Oh, my dear soul, how deceiving words can be, can't they? How appearances can lead us down paths of doubt and even sorrow. However, the angels want you to know, with utmost clarity, that truth, like a mighty river, always finds its way, even if it takes time to break through dams of pride, fear, or simple emotional blindness. What I'm about to reveal might change everything about how you see this story. They claimed no feelings, that perhaps you were just another person in their life, or that your connection lacked the depth you imagined. They might have used harsh words or a cutting silence, making you question your own feelings, your intuition, the sincerity of what your heart insisted on showing you. They might have built a fortress around themselves, a wall of indifference, trying to convince not only you, but primarily themselves that they were in control, that their feelings were superficial or non-existent. But my dear soul, the angels smile tenderly, for they see beyond the veil of appearances. They witnessed the truth they tried to conceal, the tiny spark they struggled to extinguish, fearing it would become an uncontrollable blaze. And what happened? Life, with its unyielding wisdom, brought a lesson. It took losing you. It took experiencing the emptiness of your absence, the silence where your voice once was, the lack of your gaze, your touch, your unique energy, for it all to finally click. And how it clicked, my dear. The angels show that the impact of your departure was like an earthquake in their emotional structure, shaking the foundations of that false indifference they worked so hard to maintain. Suddenly, that house of cards they built to shield themselves from deeper feelings crumbled, and they found themselves amidst the wreckage, confronted with a reality they could no longer deny. The truth is, they not only felt something, but felt a great deal. They felt a connection that frightened them, a depth they did not know how to name or manage. And so, they chose the seemingly easier path, denial. Denying it to you, denying it to themselves. But the heart, my dear soul, has its own language, one that is not silenced by empty words or defensive actions. And their heart, now, cries out for your absence, that feeling they tried to suppress, that they belittled, now resurfaces with overwhelming force, demanding its toll. They are understanding, the hard way, that what they thought was control was, in reality, an escape. An escape from giving in, an escape from vulnerability, an escape from admitting you held immense significance in their life. The angels want you to grasp that their reaction, the coolness, the denial, was not a reflection of your worth, but a mirror of their limitations and fears. They were not prepared for the intensity of what they felt, or perhaps, due to past experiences, they learned to shut themselves off from love as a form of self-protection. But you, with your radiance and authenticity, managed to break down some of those barriers, even if they didn't acknowledge it at the time. Your presence was a beacon, and they, even unconsciously, were guided by that illumination. Now, in the darkness of your absence, they realize how vital that brightness was to them. It is a painful awakening, yes, but a necessary one. Loss often has this power to shake us into reality, to make us see what in the comfort of presence we took for granted. They are experiencing this firsthand. That fabricated certainty of feeling nothing vanished like smoke, revealing an inner landscape of regret and a longing that consumes them. Angels bring this message not for you to feel pity or triumph, but for you to comprehend the complex dynamics of human emotions, and, especially, for you to recognize your own worth, which is independent of another's ability to see it at the right time. There is something very important you need to know about their current state. It didn't just click. The illusion they held shattered. They are reliving moments, words, actions, and everything takes on new meaning in the light of your absence. Those small things they might have ignored now loom large in their memory, reminding them of what they let slip away. Indifference was a disguise, and behind it, a heart that beat for you, but which they tried to silence. Now, the deafening silence is that of your absence. They are learning that feelings cannot be controlled or turned off like a switch. They can be suppressed, ignored for a time, but they always find a way to surface, often overwhelmingly when life confronts us with the consequences of our choices. And their choice to deny what they felt, to push you away, now echoes in their chest as a constant reminder of what they lost. This belated understanding is their individual process, a learning path they need to walk. But the angels want you to free yourself from any burden their denial may have placed on your shoulders. You felt correctly. Your intuition did not deceive you. There was, indeed, something special, something real. Their inability to honor it at the right time is their issue, not yours. Before continuing the message, please write this affirmation in the comments. I am worthy of love and respect, and the universe conspires in my favor. Now, continuing the message. The truth they are discovering now is multifaceted. It's not just about missing you in a romantic way, but about perceiving the impact your presence had on all levels of their life. You may have been a confidant, a friend, someone who brought lightness, joy, or a different perspective on problems. They are realizing that your absence left a void that goes far beyond a romantic connection. It left an emptiness in the structure of their own existence, as if a fundamental piece of their life's puzzle had been removed. And the most ironic part, my dear soul, is that they were the one who removed that piece, believing it would not be missed, or could be easily replaced. What a bitter error they are now experiencing. Angels show that they are undergoing moments of deep reflection, questioning their own actions, words, and behavior. That pride that perhaps prevented them from being honest with themselves and with you now begins to crumble. They are confronting their own reflection and not liking what they see. A person who, out of fear or immaturity, let something genuine and precious slip away. This realization is painful, but it is also the initial step towards potential transformation. They are realizing that certain opportunities in life are unique, and that some individuals leave indelible marks on our souls. And you, my dear, left a profound mark on their soul. A mark they tried to erase with the rubber of indifference, but which now stands out in high relief, impossible to ignore. Angels ask that you observe this situation with compassion, but without becoming emotionally entangled in their suffering to the point of harming yourself. Remember that each individual is responsible for their choices and the lessons they need to learn. Their lesson, right now, is about the worth of what one possesses and the pain of what is lost by not recognizing it in time. And this is not an easy lesson. It comes with loneliness, questioning, and a feeling of powerlessness in the face of what has already happened. But that's not all. There's something even deeper happening in their heart, something they themselves are slowly beginning to uncover, and that the angels want to share with you. My dearest soul, the depth of the impact your absence had on this person is something even they could not have predicted. That facade of indifference, that armor they wore with such conviction, began to crack the moment the reality of your departure definitively set in. Angels describe this process as a slow and painful awakening, like someone who, after a long period of numbness, begins to feel again, and the first sensations are sharp, almost unbearable. Regret, my dear soul, is a constant companion in their days now. It is not a superficial regret, of the kind expressed with empty words, but a visceral feeling that accompanies them from dawn until the moment they try, often in vain, to find some rest in sleep. They find themselves reliving conversations, re-examining their own actions, and with each recollection, a new pang of realization. They made a mistake. They erred by not valuing your presence, by not expressing what they truly felt, by believing, they could simply move on as if you had meant nothing. The truth, which they now confront with disconcerting clarity, is that you meant much more than they dared to admit, even to themselves. Angels show that their previous denial was a defense mechanism. Perhaps they feared the intensity of their own feelings, or were afraid of getting hurt, of losing control, of surrendering to something that seemed too big for them to manage. So, they chose the path of withdrawal, of calculated coldness, hoping that this would push away not only you, but also the force of what they felt internally. What an irony of fate, isn't it? In trying to protect themselves, they ended up causing their own pain, a pain that now manifests as immense longing, a sense of irreparable loss. Their current reality is a stark contrast to the stance they maintained. That air of not needing anyone, of being fine alone, has collapsed. Now, they face a void that their own attitude created. Angels emphasize that this emptiness is not just the physical absence of your company, but the absence of your light, your energy, that particularity that only you possessed, and that, in some way, complemented their existence. They are realizing, perhaps for the first time, that certain connections are rare and precious, and that attempting to replace them is a fruitless endeavor. Have you noticed that certain coincidences in your life are not mere coincidences? Well, they too are beginning to notice signs, memories that surface unexpectedly, songs that play and bring to mind moments lived with you. The universe has its subtle ways of reminding us of what we try to forget, especially when there are important lessons to be learned. And their lesson is about the importance of emotional honesty, about the value of recognizing and honoring true feelings, both their own and those of others. The fear, which once drove them to withdraw and deny, now transforms. It is no longer the fear of surrendering, but the fear of having lost you forever. The fear that there may be no second chance, that the door they themselves closed so vehemently is now locked to them. This new fear consumes them, makes them restless, makes them question every decision they made concerning you. Angels want you to grasp the depth of this internal conflict. It is not something simple or easy for them. To admit to themselves that they made a colossal mistake, that they underestimated their own feelings and the worth of another person, requires an immense dose of humility and courage, qualities they may now be forced to develop. They are in a process of deconstructing the self-image they had created, that image of someone unshakable and self-sufficient. Your absence forced them to face their vulnerabilities, their deficiencies, their emotional needs that they tried so hard to mask. And this vision of themselves, more raw and exposed, can be frightening for someone who spent so long hiding behind a facade. Angels ask that you maintain your vibration high, my dear soul. Do not allow their regret to become a burden for you. The learning journey is theirs. Your part was to be authentic, to offer your best, to love in the way you knew how. If they did not know how to receive or reciprocate at the time, that is an issue they need to resolve internally. Now, before we continue this message, please type 7070 in the comments to ask for clarity and truth in their heart. And if this message resonates with you, and you feel the urge to support our work, allowing us to continue bringing these words of light and comfort to more souls in need, please consider using the thanks button. Your contribution, however small, makes a big difference and is received with immense gratitude. Continuing the message, angels show that there are times when they feel paralyzed by this realization. It has struck them in such a way that they do not quite know what to do with this new awareness. Seek you out? Ask for forgiveness? Try to explain the unexplainable? All these possibilities cross their mind. But the fear of rejection, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear that their words will not be enough to repair the damage caused, all this holds them back. They are stuck in a limbo between the desire to fix things and the fear of making them even worse, or of simply confirming that there is no going back. This message reached you at the right time, but you need to act quickly to protect your own inner peace. It's not about closing doors forever, but about understanding that their process is theirs, and yours is yours. You continued your life, learned from the experience, and it is important that you do not emotionally regress because of their belated awakening. Angels want you to strengthen yourself in your own truth, in your worth. The fact that they are now realizing what they lost is a validation of what you always knew, deep in your heart. That the connection was real and that your feelings were genuine. But this validation should not tie you to the past. On the contrary, it should propel you forward with even greater conviction in your ability to love and be loved fully and reciprocally. Their past denial may have caused you pain, confusion, and made you doubt yourself. But now, angels invite you to view this situation with the eyes of wisdom, understanding that each person has their own awakening time, and that unfortunately, some people only learn the worth of the sun after many rainy days. They are in the midst of an emotional storm of their own making and are beginning to desperately long for the sun that your presence represented. But that's not all. There's an even deeper energy moving between you, an energetic shift that the angels want you to understand, so you can be prepared for what may come next. My dearest soul, it is crucial that you understand that their awakening to the truth of the feelings they harbored for you did not happen in a vacuum. The universe, in its boundless wisdom, constantly sends out signals, small nudges, trying to guide us toward the path of authenticity and affection. Angels reveal that, long before your actual departure, they received countless such signals, indicating the importance of your presence in their life, the depth of the connection you shared. But, unfortunately, they chose to ignore them. Perhaps it was those moments of pure synchronicity, where a glance was enough for you to understand each other. Perhaps it was the words of friends or family who noticed the different sparkle in their eyes when they were with you. Or who knows, vivid dreams that brought clear messages from their subconscious. They may have felt a pang in their chest at the thought of losing you, a subtle fear they quickly covered up with some rationalization. How many times did their heart try to speak louder, but their mind, trained for self-sabotage or the fear of surrender, found an excuse not to listen? Angels show that they were immersed in a kind of self-imposed fog, where clarity about their own feelings was obscured by pride. Ah, pride. That wall so many build around their hearts, believing they are protecting themselves, when in truth, they are only isolating themselves from true happiness and genuine connections. Their pride made them believe that admitting deep feelings for you would be a sign of weakness, or that it would put them in a vulnerable position. They preferred the armor of indifference, the posture of someone who doesn't care, who has everything under control. Little did they know that this control was an illusion, and that life, patiently, would wait for the right moment to show them the truth unequivocally. And that moment arrived with your absence. Now, what they are thinking about you is a whirlwind. Their thoughts are incessant, and the image they had of you, perhaps distorted by the lens of their denial, now adjusts to reality. They are not just thinking about the person they lost, but about the quality of the person you are. They recall your patience, your understanding, perhaps even the times you tried, subtly or directly, to show them what they refused to see. They remember your loyalty, your affection, your ability to bring light to the darkest days, and each of these recollections is like a sharp knife in their chest, for they realize, with painful clarity, the treasure they let slip through their fingers. They question how they could have been so blind, so insensitive, so disconnected from their own inner truth. Angels emphasize that this process of self-questioning is crucial for their growth. They are, in fact, deconstructing the image they had not only of you, but primarily of themselves and what they considered important in a relationship. That superficiality they may have shown in the past now seems empty and meaningless in the face of the depth of what they felt and failed to honor. They are beginning to understand that true connections are not based on power games or displays of detachment, but rather on vulnerability, honesty, and mutual devotion. Have you ever considered that your departure may have been the catalyst they needed for this internal transformation? Although painful for both, This separation forced them to confront internal struggles they had been avoiding for a long time. Before continuing the message, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. It helps us continue creating meaningful content for you. Continuing the message, angels show that they are in a state of near mental preoccupation, trying to understand where they went wrong, what they could have done differently. They revisit scenarios, conversations, moments, searching for answers, seeking a way to alleviate the weight of regret they carry. They may be observing you from afar, through social media, or asking mutual friends about you, trying to gather information that might give them some hope, or, conversely, confirm their worst fears. The uncertainty about how you are, about what you feel now, is something that consumes them. Have you already forgotten them? Have you found someone else? Was the pain they caused you so deep that there is no room for forgiveness? These questions echo in their mind, especially in the quietest hours of the night, when the day's distractions disappear and they are alone with their thoughts and feelings. Angels want you to know this not to fuel any feeling of vengeance or satisfaction, but so you can understand the magnitude of the impact you had on their life, even if they are only recognizing it now. Your authenticity, your capacity to love, left an indelible mark, and they are, at last, realizing it. This is a time of great learning for them, an opportunity to reevaluate their priorities, their values, and how they relate to others and to themselves. Angels are sending you a special sign. Your lucky number for today is 7. Please write in the comments, "I receive the energy of the angels." My lucky number is 7, and I am blessed. I send love and protection to the person I care for and love very much. If this message has touched your heart, show your support with a thanks, and help spread this message of light to others who need it. The realization that has dawned on them is heavy, my dear soul, and it is requiring them to look within themselves in a way they may never have done before. They are realizing that life does not wait indefinitely for us to value what is important. Sometimes lessons arrive through loss, so that we can awaken to what truly matters. And for them, you mattered, deeply. Only fear and pride prevented them from living this truth fully. But that's not all. An energetic dynamic is forming, and the angels want to prepare you for the possible consequences of this belated awakening. My dearest soul, the internal process this person is undergoing is of an intensity that perhaps even they cannot fully articulate. It is a deep dive into their own shadows, a direct confrontation with misguided choices and the self-inflicted pain of denial. Angels describe this phase as a true emotional battlefield, where reason, the one that once dictated indifference and denial, now desperately struggles to maintain some control, while the heart, which always knew the truth, finally finds its voice and exposes the depth of feelings that were suppressed for so long. This internal struggle is exhausting for them. On one hand, the mind tries to find justifications for past behavior, attempts to minimize the importance of what they felt, perhaps even blaming you or circumstances to alleviate the burden of responsibility. It's the wounded ego trying to defend itself, trying to maintain the illusion that they didn't make such a big mistake. But on the other hand, the heart, now painfully aware of your absence and the void it left, no longer allows itself to be silenced. It beats with longing, with regret, with the belated recognition of your worth and the preciousness of the connection you shared. Angels show that they are beginning to realize, with frightening clarity, everything they lost by losing you. It's not just your physical company, your smile, your embrace. They lost the confidant, the friend, the person who perhaps understood them like no one else. They lost the opportunity to build something significant, to experience a love that could have been transformative. They lost the chance to be truly happy by your side, because fear and pride blinded them to that possibility. This realization is like a punch to the stomach, taking their breath away and leaving them disoriented. They see themselves in the mirror and do not recognize the person who allowed this to happen. Where was their intelligence, their perceptiveness, when it came to something as vital as their own feelings and shared happiness? These are the questions that haunt them. Angels want you to understand that this internal struggle is a necessary step for their growth. It is through this confrontation that they can begin to dismantle the barriers they built around their own heart. It is a painful process, yes, but also potentially liberating, if they have the courage to go all the way, to acknowledge their shortcomings, and to learn from them. Have you ever wondered why some people only appreciate things after they've lost them? It's a complex human dynamic, often linked to emotional immaturity, learned patterns, or past traumas that generate fear of intimacy and surrender. They, in some way, fit this pattern. They needed to feel the impact of your absence to awaken to the reality of what you represented. Before we continue, angels ask you to perform a liberation exercise. Write in the comments a list of people, including yourself, you would like to forgive. Picture each one, send them love, and say, "I forgive you and set you free. May peace be with you." Feel the lightness and freedom that forgiveness brings. Repeat this practice every day to strengthen your inner peace and release anxiety. Now, continuing the message. Angels show that they are revisiting specific memories, moments when they had the chance to act differently, to speak the truth, to open up to you, but they didn't. And each of these memories now comes loaded with a what if. What if I had said what I felt? What if I hadn't been so cold? What if I had fought for us? These questions are torturous, for they bring to light the awareness of lost opportunities, of time that cannot be retrieved. They are learning, the hard way, that time is a precious resource, and that postponing the expression of true feelings can have irreversible, or at least very painful, consequences. Their reason, which was once so convinced in its denial, now desperately seeks a way to fix the error, to reverse the situation. But the heart, although longing for reconciliation, also carries the weight of guilt and the fear of rejection. They know they cannot simply reappear as if nothing happened. They know that their past words and actions left marks, and that regaining your trust, if that is even possible, would require immense effort and genuine transformation on their part. Angels want you to know that this internal struggle of theirs is not a guarantee that they will take the right action, or the action you might expect. Their free will remains theirs. But the intensity of this process indicates that they are being deeply touched and transformed by the experience of your loss. They are being forced to face aspects of themselves they preferred to ignore, and that, in itself, is a significant movement. They are realizing that love is not a game of who cares less, but a dance of surrender and reciprocity. And they, unfortunately, only noticed they were dancing alone on the floor when the music stopped and you had already departed. The loneliness they feel now is not just physical, it is a loneliness of the soul, the feeling of having disconnected from something vital. Angels ask that you remain focused on your own path of healing and growth. Their journey is parallel, but it should no longer determine your happiness or your worth. Use this understanding to free yourself from any doubt that may still linger about the sincerity of your feelings or the connection that existed. You were correct. They just took too long to admit it. But that's not all. How you have continued with your life also plays a crucial role in what they are feeling and thinking now, and the angels want to reveal more about this. My dearest soul, it is crucial that you understand that, while they struggle with the weight of regret and the belated discovery of their own feelings, your life has not stood still, waiting for this awakening. You, with your characteristic strength and resilience, continued your journey, perhaps with a wounded heart, perhaps with painful lessons in your luggage, but you moved forward. And this ability of yours to rise again, to pursue your happiness independently of them, is something that now affects them with particular intensity. Angels show that they observe, even from a distance, your actions. They may not have direct access to all the details of your current life, But the energy you radiate, the way you present yourself to the world, all of this reaches them, whether through sporadic information or through intuition sharpened by longing. And what do they perceive? They perceive a person who is rebuilding themselves, who is rediscovering their own light, who is perhaps stronger, more centered, more aware of their worth than ever before. They see you smiling again, engaging in new activities, connecting with other people. And this, my dear soul, causes a mix of admiration and deep despair in them. Admiration because deep down, they always knew your strength, even if they tried to diminish or ignore it in the past. Despair because every sign of your happiness and your progress without them is another confirmation of what they lost and the growing distance between you. Their perception that you are moving forward, that life continues for you, and continues well, is one of the hardest blows in their process of regret. That small and perhaps arrogant hope that you would be paralyzed by the pain of their absence, waiting indefinitely for a return, crumbles with every piece of news or impression they have of your autonomy and your flourishing. They begin to understand that the world does not revolve around them, and that you, as an individual and complete being, have every right to seek your happiness with or without them. This realization confronts them with an even greater fear, the fear of irreversibility. If before they feared their own commitment, now they fear having become dispensable, replaceable, a turned page in your story. The longing, which was already immense, becomes almost unbearable when confronted with the real possibility that you not only survived their absence, but are thriving. They realize, brutally, that time does not stand still, and that lost opportunities rarely knock twice in the same way. Angels want you to know that your strength and your ability to move forward are not acts of revenge or provocation, but rather the purest expression of your self-love and your resilience. You do not need to dim your light for them to feel better or to facilitate a possible return. On the contrary, it is your light shining brightly that serves as a beacon, showing not only them, but everyone around you, the path of overcoming and self-worth. Have you ever wondered about the impact your personal transformation has on those who observe you? Your journey inspires, even silently, and for them, this inspiration comes with a growing urgency, a feeling that, if they don't do something soon, any small chance that might still exist will completely vanish. Angels show that this perception of your evolution forces them to question their own actions even more. Why couldn't they be by your side during this growth? Why did they choose the path of denial instead of walking with you, sharing the joys and challenges? These questions torment them, for they reveal the extent of their own failure and the opportunity they squandered. The longing they feel is no longer just a nostalgic memory of good times. It has transformed into a deep yearning for something they now understand to be essential and, at the same time, increasingly distant. They see you becoming an even better version of yourself, and this makes them confront their own stagnation, or the mistakes that prevented them from accompanying you in this progress. They may feel a pang of envy, not in a negative way, but as a painful recognition that they could have been part of this happiness, this completeness that you now demonstrate. Angels ask that you continue on this path of self-care and growth. Your happiness does not depend on their validation or regret. If they choose to learn from this experience and seek genuine transformation, it will be a bonus. But your focus should remain on nurturing your own soul, on building the life you deserve, full of love, peace, and accomplishments. The way you handle your own life, with dignity and joy, is the most powerful answer you can give to any past pain or disappointment. And for them, your stance is a mirror that relentlessly reflects their own losses and the urgency of an internal change, if they still harbor any hope of reconnection. But that's not all. What they intend to do with all this whirlwind of feelings and perceptions is something the angels also want to illuminate for you. My dearest soul, in the face of this whirlwind of emotions, the poignant regret, and the painful realization of what was lost, the central question that hangs in the air is, what do they plan to do? What are their intentions, if any, to attempt reconciliation, or, at the very least, to express this truth that now consumes them. Angels reveal that their mind is in a state of great confusion and internal conflict. There isn't a clear, defined strategy, but rather a tangle of desires, fears, and uncertainties. On one hand, the urge to reach out to you is immense, almost a physical necessity. They long to hear your voice, to see your face, to have the chance to, perhaps, explain themselves, ask for forgiveness, or simply know how you truly are. The idea of living the rest of their life with this burden, with this unspoken word, with this unexpressed feeling, begins to seem unbearable. They sense an urgency, as if time is running out, as if each day of silence is another nail in the coffin of hope. However, on the other hand, fear remains a giant obstacle in their path. The fear of your reaction, the fear of being definitively rejected, the fear that their words won't be enough, or will sound insincere after so much denial and indifference. They fear they have no right to reappear in your life, bringing up feelings and memories that you may have already managed to overcome or place in their proper context. This conflict between desire and fear often leaves them paralyzed. They might spend hours rehearsing conversations in their mind, thinking about what they would say, how they would approach the situation, but when it comes to translating those thoughts into action, they retreat. The vulnerability needed to take this step is something they are still struggling to find within themselves. Angels want you to understand that, at this moment, the divine counsel for you is to maintain serenity and focus on your own peace. Do not create expectations, neither positive nor negative, regarding their potential actions. The process is theirs, and they need to find their own path and timing if it is to happen. Your life cannot be put on hold, waiting for someone else's decisions or courage. Continue nurturing your well-being, your friendships, your projects. Live your present fully. If they decide to make contact, you will be in a position of strength and clarity to handle the situation in a way that is best for you, without desperation and without illusions. Have you noticed that often, when we stop waiting for something or someone, that's exactly when things happen? This occurs because our energy is freed from anxiety and dependence, allowing the universe to operate more fluidly. Before we continue, please share this video with 2 dear people who need this message of hope and faith. Let's together build a chain of love and mutual support. Please leave a comment with a prayer for your guardian angel. Now, continuing the message. Angels show that they may be looking for signs, trying to test the waters before taking any direct action. They might be observing your social media more closely, if they have access, or trying to get information about you through mutual friends, subtly, so as not to raise suspicions. They are searching for any indication that you still think of them, that there is a slightly open door, however small. This search for external validation before acting is typical of someone who is still insecure and afraid. However, angels also indicate that the internal pressure is growing. Longing and regret are powerful forces that at some point may overcome fear. They are reaching a breaking point, where the pain of doing nothing may become greater than the fear of trying. It is at this point that an action, even if hesitant or clumsy, may emerge. Do not expect a grand gesture or a cinematic apology. If it comes, it will likely be with caution. Perhaps a simple message, a hi, how are you, just to test the waters. How you respond, or if you respond, will be crucial for the next steps. Angels advise that, if this contact happens, you connect deeply with your intuition before any reaction. What does your heart truly desire? What are your boundaries? What are you willing to accept or not accept? Having this inner clarity will be your greatest ally. Remember all the lessons this experience brought you. You are no longer the same person as before, and any future interaction with them should reflect your new awareness and self-worth. But that's not all. There's a mutual learning occurring in this dynamic, and the angels want to illuminate how The distance is serving a higher purpose for both of you. My dearest soul, the possibility of communication or concrete action from them is becoming increasingly palpable energetically. The internal pressure they feel, the longing that consumes them, and the regret that haunts them are pushing them out of the comfort zone of inertia. However, the angels emphasize that, before any attempt at reconciliation can have a positive or constructive outcome, they still need to internalize some fundamental lessons. It's not enough to simply miss you or feel regret. There needs to be a genuine understanding of the reasons that led to the separation, and a real willingness to change detrimental behavioral patterns. One of the main lessons they are being confronted with is about emotional responsibility. They need to understand that their words, or lack thereof, and their actions, or inactions, have a direct impact on the feelings and life of another person. That attitude of saying they felt nothing while deep down, feelings were being denied, was a lack of honesty not only with you, but with themselves, and it led to painful consequences. Recognizing this, without trying to justify themselves or blame others, is a crucial step for their emotional maturity. Another important lesson for them is about the worth of vulnerability. They need to deconstruct the idea that being vulnerable is being weak. On the contrary, it takes immense courage to open up, to show one's feelings, to admit fears and insecurities. It was the lack of this courage that led them to hide behind the mask of indifference. If they truly desire an authentic connection, whether with you or with anyone else in the future, they will have to learn to shed that armor and show themselves as they truly are. Angels also point to the need for them to develop clearer and more honest communication. Emotional games, punishing, silences, ambiguities. All of these are dysfunctional forms of communication that erode trust and destroy relationships. If they intend to reconnect, they will need to be willing to speak openly about what they feel, about what happened, about their fears and hopes, in a way that is respectful and transparent. And, equally important, they will need to be willing to listen to you, to understand your perspective, your pains, and your needs, without interruptions or attempts to invalidate your feelings. But what about you, my dear soul? What learning did this entire situation, especially the distance and silence, bring to you? Angels smile, for they see how much you have grown and strengthened. You learned, perhaps the hard way, about the importance of self-worth, of not placing your happiness in another's hands, of not accepting less than you deserve. You learned to recognize the signs of emotional unavailability and to protect your heart with greater wisdom. You learned that self-love is the foundation for any healthy relationship, and that even if someone does not recognize your worth, that in no way diminishes who you are. The distance allowed you to reconnect with yourself, with your own needs, your aspirations, your inner strength. It allowed you to realize that you are capable of being happy on your own, and that someone's company should be an addition, a complement, and not a necessity to fill gaps or deficiencies. You learned the importance of setting healthy boundaries and not settling for emotional crumbs. This learning is an invaluable treasure that no one can take from you. Have you already realized how much stronger and wiser you have become? Angels celebrate your progress. This message reached you at this time not to rekindle false hopes or to tie you to the past, but to give you clarity about the energetic dynamic that is in motion and to empower you even more on your path. If they do communicate, you will be prepared. You will know how to listen with your heart, but also with the wisdom gained. You will be able to discern if there is genuine change or just superficial regret driven by loneliness. You will know, above all, to honor yourself and your needs. The distance for them has been a severe but effective teacher, forcing them to confront inconvenient truths about themselves. For you, the distance was a space for healing, strengthening, and rediscovering your immense worth. Both are learning, each at their own pace and in their own way. And it is this mutual learning, even if pursued on separate paths for a time, that may eventually open doors to a different future, whatever it may be. But that's not all. The final message from the angels brings precious guidance on how to position yourself and what truly matters from now on. My dearest soul, we have reached the crucial point of this message, where angels wish to offer their final guidance, focusing entirely on you, your strength, your progress, and the vital importance of keeping the helm of your life firmly in your hands, guided by your self-worth. Regardless of their actions or belated awakening, what truly matters now is how you position yourself before life and your own emotions. Angels celebrate the path of self-discovery and strengthening you have pursued. Every step, even those taken, amidst tears and uncertainties, contributed to the wise and resilient person you have become. The experience with this individual, however painful it may have been at times, served as a catalyst for you to look deeper within yourself, at your needs, your boundaries, and above all, at your immense worth. The primary message angels want to resonate in your heart is, you are complete within yourself. True happiness is not a gift someone gives you, but a wellspring that flows from within your own being when you nurture yourself with affection, respect, and acceptance. If they decide to approach you, if they express remorse and a desire for change, you will have the freedom and clarity to assess the situation with serenity. Do not feel pressured to make hasty choices, either by the weight of the past or by a possible momentary need. Ask your heart, your intuition, which is now sharper than ever. Is this reconnection aligned with my well-being? Are there signs of genuine transformation in them? Or just empty words and promises that the wind can carry away? Remember who you are today. You are no longer the same person they left behind. You have learned, you have grown, you have set new standards for yourself and for your relationships. Any future interaction must honor this new version of you. Do not settle for less than the respect, honesty, reciprocity, and complete affection you deserve. Angels encourage you to remain focused on your own aspirations, your projects, your passions. Continue investing in your personal, spiritual, and emotional development. Surround yourself with individuals who uplift you, who support you, who celebrate your accomplishments, and who offer you healthy and constructive affection. Your energy is too precious to be wasted on dynamics that drain you or make you question your worth. The lessons that distance brought to both of you are significant. For them, the painful realization about the worth of what they had and the importance of emotional honesty. For you, the reaffirmation of your self-worth and your ability to overcome challenges. These lessons are the true treasures of this experience. If there is a reunion, may it be based on these new understandings, with both hearts more mature and aware. But if there is not, know that you already possess everything you need to be content and fulfilled. The door to your heart should be open. To affection, yes, but an affection that enriches you, respects you, and admires you for who you are in your entirety. Do not settle for partiality, for uncertainties, for veiled or denied feelings. You deserve the clarity, dedication, and wholeness of genuine affection. Angels are by your side, my dear soul, cheering on your strength, your courage, and your radiance. They enfold you in their protective wings, sending you peace, wisdom, and discernment for every step of your path. Trust your intuition. It is the voice of the angels speaking directly to you. Honor your feelings, your boundaries, and your needs. Always remember how precious you are. True affection, above all else, is the one you cultivate for yourself. This is the affection that no one can take from you, and that attracts all other forms of genuine affection into your life. Remain steadfast in your radiance, for it illuminates your path and inspires everyone around you. If this message resonated with you and your situation, please write in the comments. True love always finds its way back to me. Share your experiences in the comments. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.